Hello, I'm John McManus.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Renee Semble.
Ah, are you Mr. Maxwell's new secretary?
Yes, I am.
Wow, welcome to Tag Engineering.
Thank you.
Is there a catalog here for Chase Electrical Supplies?
No, there isn't one for Chase Electrical Supplies, but there is one for City Electrical. Here it is.
Oh, thank you. Is there any mail for me?
Just a moment. No, there isn't any mail for you, but there is some from Mr. Maxwell.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hello, I'm John McManus.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Renee Semble.
Ah, are you Mr. Maxwell's new secretary?
Yes, I am.
Wow, welcome to Tag Engineering.
Thank you.
Is there a catalog here for Chase Electrical Supplies?
No, there isn't one for Chase Electrical Supplies, but there is one for City Electrical. Here it is.
Oh, thank you. Is there any mail for me?
Just a moment. No, there isn't any mail for you, but there is some from Mr. Maxwell.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hello, I'm John McManus.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Renee Semble.
Ah, are you Mr. Maxwell's new secretary?
Yes, I am.
Wow, welcome to Tag Engineering.
Thank you.
Is there a catalog here for Chase Electrical Supplies?
No, there isn't one for Chase Electrical Supplies, but there is one for City Electrical. Here it is.
Oh, thank you. Is there any mail for me?
Just a moment. No, there isn't any mail for you, but there is some from Mr. Maxwell.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Is there a catalog for Chase Mathorn? There isn't a catalog for Chase Mathorn, but there is one for City Electrical. No, there isn't any mail for you, but there is some for Mr. Maxwell.
Mom, is there any bread?
Yes, dear, there's some bread in the drawer.
Is there any tuna?
Yes, there's some tuna in the cupboard.
Are there any pickles?
Yes, there are some pickles in the refrigerator next to the jam.
Jam. Mom,
Yes, dear.
where's the peanut butter? Mom, is there any bread?
Yes, dear, there's some bread in the drawer.
Is there any tuna?
Yes, there's some tuna in the cupboard.
Are there any pickles?
Yes, there are some pickles in the refrigerator next to the jam.
Jam. Mom,
Yes, dear.
where's the peanut butter? Mom, is there any bread?
Yes, dear, there's some bread in the drawer.
Is there any tuna?
Yes, there's some tuna in the cupboard.
Are there any pickles?
Yes, there are some pickles in the refrigerator next to the jam.
Jam. Mom,
Yes, dear.
where's the peanut butter?
Is there any bread? There is some bread in the drawer. Is there any tuna? There is some tuna in the cupboard. Are there any pickles? There are some pickles in the refrigerator.
Are there any cups?
Yes, there are. There are some cups in the cupboard.
Are there any glasses?
Yes, there are. There are some glasses on the table.
Is there any wine?
Yes, there is. There is wine on the counter.
Are there any candles?
Yes, there are some candles. There are some candles in the drawer.
Where is the ice cream?
There is ice cream in the freezer.
What about music?
There are some CDs behind the stereo in the living room.
Are there any cups?
Yes, there are. There are some cups in the cupboard.
Are there any glasses?
Yes, there are. There are some glasses on the table.
Is there any wine?
Yes, there is. There is wine on the counter.
Are there any candles?
Yes, there are some candles. There are some candles in the drawer.
Where is the ice cream?
There is ice cream in the freezer.
What about music?
There are some CDs behind the stereo in the living room.
Are there any cups?
Yes, there are. There are some cups in the cupboard.
Are there any glasses?
Yes, there are. There are some glasses on the table.
Is there any wine?
Yes, there is. There is wine on the counter.
Are there any candles?
Yes, there are some candles. There are some candles in the drawer.
Where is the ice cream?
There is ice cream in the freezer.
What about music?
There are some CDs behind the stereo in the living room.
Are there any cups? Yes, there are. There are some cups in the cupboard. Are there any glasses? Yes, there are. There are some glasses on the table. Is there any wine? Yes, there is. There is some wine in the fridge. Are there any candles? Yes, there are. There are some candles in the drawer. One, two, three, four, five. Oh, hi. Welcome back to the classroom. Today, our lesson is about nouns. Two different kinds of nouns. Those we can count, called count nouns, and those we cannot count, called, of course, non-count nouns. To count. What is the meaning of to count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I am counting my fingers. 1, 2, 3. I am counting the blocks. To count is to determine how many things we have. How many fingers on my right hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 fingers on my right hand. How many fingers on my left hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 fingers on my left hand. How many fingers on both my hands? 5 plus 5 equals 10. There are 10 fingers on both my hands. How many blocks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 blocks. How many eggs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 eggs. Do you hear that? There are 5 fingers on my hand. There are 6 blocks. There are 12 eggs. There are is a phrase we use to point out people or things. There are fingers, there are eggs, there are blocks, there are children, there are cars, there are students. These are all what we call count nouns because they are things we can count. Now, what if we have just one thing? instead of there are, we say there is. There is a clipboard on the desk. There is a block on the book. There is an egg in my left hand. Of course, we can shorten there is to the contraction theirs. Theirs is the contracted form of there is. There's a desk in my room. There's a door in the wall. There's a blackboard behind me. So now, let's make some simple sentences using there are and there is. Okay. How do we describe this? There are 3 blocks on the telephone book. And now, there is a block on the telephone book. And now, there are 2 telephone books on the desk. By the way, we can also call this a phone book. And look, there are phone numbers in the phone book. Oh, there's an envelope in the phone book. Do you understand? There is, or theirs, is singular. There's an envelope in the phone book. In the phone book, there is an envelope. There are is plural. There are phone numbers in the phone book. But watch out. There can sound like the contraction for they are. There. There are 2 books on the desk. They are phone books. They're phone books. Do you hear the difference? There are 2 books on the desk. They're phone books. Sometimes words in English can sound alike. There and there. Now, there is another word that sounds like there and there. Do you remember the possessive adjective for third person plural for they? It is there. Let's say that these phone books belong to John and Donna McManus. They are John and Donna's phone books. They are their phone books. Their phone books are on the desk. There are their phone books. They're on the desk. They're their phone books. There. Now that you understand there, and there, let's go on. Count nouns are things that we can count. I can count apples. I can count pens. I can count books. I can count blocks. I can count eggs. Envelopes. I can count desks and blackboards. But there are also things I cannot count. I cannot count water. I cannot count milk. I cannot count flour. And I cannot count very small things like rice. Or sugar. Or even oatmeal. I can count specific things like hamburgers. 1 hamburger, 2 hamburgers. But I cannot count general things like meat. I can count specific assignments that I give my students, like do exercise 6 in your workbook. But I can't count homework. Non-count nouns are things that we cannot count. All these non-count nouns. Therefore, to form the plurals of non-count nouns, we do not add s or es. And we use there is, not there are. There is more rice in the kitchen. There is sugar in the coffee. There is homework tonight in our English class. There is soup in the can. Okay. There is a knock at the door. Let's see who's there. Who is there? Who's there?
I'm here, teacher.
Oh, Tracy, come on in. How can I help you today? Sit down.
There are homeworks tonight?
There is homework tonight. Yes, Tracy. And it's about count and non-count nouns. Do you remember what kind of noun homework is?
Homework are non-count nouns.
That's right. So, we don't use an S when we form the plural. And we use is instead of are. So we say, there is homework tonight. Now, to form the question about your homework, you ask me the question in the same form as when we used the verb to be, by changing the order of the subject and the verb. So, there is homework tonight becomes, is there homework tonight? Do you understand?
Yes, teacher.
Let's try a few more questions for practice, okay?
Sure, teacher.
Ask me a question about that.
Is there a block on the book?
Very good. Okay. Now, ask me a question about that.
Is there an onion in the bag?
Good. How about that?
Are there 2 onions in the bag?
Good. Ask me a question about that.
Are there 3 onions in the bag?
Good. Now, ask me a question about that.
Are there... How many onions are there? Are there 7 onions in the bag?
Now, there is something else that you need here. There are 2 words that will help you in a situation like this. And those words are some and any. We can't always count things exactly. Some and any help us to refer to things in general. We use some to talk about plural count nouns and non-count nouns in the affirmative form of a statement. For example, with count nouns, there are some onions in the bag. There are some blocks in the desk drawer. Now, there are some blocks on the desk. And with non-count nouns, there is some chalk on the shelf under the blackboard. There is some soup in this can. There is some milk in the refrigerator. We use any to talk about plural count and non-count nouns in 2 ways. First, in the negative form of a statement. with count nouns. If I remove the onions from the bag, there aren't any onions in the bag. There aren't any blocks in the desk drawer. And now, there aren't any blocks on the desk. Do you understand?
Yes, teacher.
And it's the same with the non-count nouns. I remove the chalk from the blackboard. There isn't any chalk on the shelf under the blackboard. There isn't any soup in the can. Or there isn't any milk in the refrigerator. How about this? There are some pens on the paper. Now, describe this.
There aren't any pens on the paper.
Good. Very good. Okay. Now, how about this? Right?
There isn't any water in the glass.
Good. These are all examples of the use of any in negative statements. The second way we use any is in the question form. Are there any onions in the bag? Are there any blocks in the drawer? Are there any blocks on the desk?
Are there any pens on the paper?
Yes, exactly. And what is the short answer to that question? Are there any pens on the paper?
No, there aren't.
Yes, exactly. That's right. And the non-count nouns. Is there any chalk under the blackboard? Is there any soup in the can?
Is there any water in the glass?
No, there isn't. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, teacher. So my question is there any homework tonight?
That's exactly right. And the answer is,
Yes, there is some homework tonight.
yes. And if there were not any homework tonight, what would you say?
No, there aren't any homework tonight.
No, there isn't any homework tonight. Tracy, you are beginning to understand this very well. But let's practice some of the sentences from your homework. Okay?
Okay.
All right, good. Now, let's see. What did I assign you? Okay. Okay, here are the exercises for tonight's homework. Let's see now. Exercise 4. Complete the following sentences with there is and there are. I can even set this one up. Look. Blank, some onions in the bag, and blank, a can of soup in the box. You fill in the blanks.
There are some onions in the bag.
Yes.
And there's a can of soup in the box.
Very good. Exactly. There are some onions in the bag, and there is a can of soup in the box. Now, how about this? See if I've got this right from the exercises. Yes. Okay.
There is a book in your left hand, and there are some keys in your right.
Perfect. That's very good. Okay. Now, let's see what the next one is, shall we? Okay. Let's look at exercise 6. It says, change the sentences into negatives. Okay. I will say the sentence in the affirmative, and then you change it into the negative. Okay? There are some cans in the cupboard.
There aren't any cans in the cupboard.
Exactly right. Okay? Now, you try too. There are some glasses on the table.
There aren't any glasses on the table.
Perfect. There are some envelopes in the drawer.
There aren't any envelopes in the drawer.
Very good. Let's try the next exercise. Okay? This one, I want you to change into the plural form. Okay? There is an orange on the table.
There are some oranges on the table.
Very good. Okay? There is an apple on the table.
There are some apples on the table.
Perfect. Okay? Now we'll try this one. There is a car in the garage. Plural. There is a car in the garage becomes, if there were more than one car.
There are some cars in the garage.
Absolutely right. Exactly right. Okay, good. Now, for exercise 10, it says ask questions. Okay, let's try this one. There is an orange on the table. Make that into a question.
Is there an orange on the table?
Very good. That's perfect. Now, you try this one. There is an apple on the table.
Is there an apple on the table?
Oh, see how you're getting it now? Okay, let's do the next one. There is a car in the garage. Tracy?
Is there a car in the garage?
Oh, you are really understanding this well now, aren't you? Exercise 11. Okay, now in this one, I will ask you to answer the questions with short answers. Okay, so I will ask you a question and then tell you if the answer is yes or no, and you give me the short answer. Okay, so this one. Is there an apple on the desk? No.
No, there isn't.
Good. How about, is there an apple on the table?
Yes, there is.
Exactly right. Okay. Now you try too. Are there any books in the cupboard? Yes.
Yes, there are.
Right. Is there some soup in the refrigerator? No.
No, there isn't.
Very good. Are there any glasses in the cupboard? No.
No, there aren't.
Is there a block in the box? Yes.
Yes, there is.
Some help is good, isn't it, Tracy?
Yes, it is. Thank you, teacher.
Is there any help you need? You can always find it here at Language Exchange International.
Count and non-count nouns. Count nouns, singular and plural. Table, tables. Chair, chairs. Pen, pens. Student, students. Orange, oranges. Non-count nouns. Coffee, sugar, milk, oil, soup, rice, paper, chalk, furniture, homework. Use of some and any. Count nouns, singular. Affirmative. There is a book. Negative. There isn't a book. Interrogative. Is there a book? Count nouns, plural. There are some books. There aren't any books. Are there any books? Non-count nouns. There is some coffee. There isn't any coffee. Is there any coffee?